Welcome, everybody, to the final driver ratings of the year for the 2025 Formula 1 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. If you don't know, every single Monday after a Grand Prix weekend, we hop on the stream, we review everything from the Grand Prix, and then we end the stream with our driver ratings. Now, we're doing it on Tuesday today because there was so much to cover in yesterday's Grand Prix reviews. We did two separate streams for the review and driver ratings. But normally on a Monday, tune on in on Twitch, TikTok, or YouTube and rate the drivers with us. Now, we're going to go in reverse finishing order, rate the drivers' performances for both qualifying and the race, and just talk about how they did during the weekend as a whole. There's going to be a poll up in chat that you guys can vote on in Twitch chat, so be sure to come over to Twitch if you want to vote on the polls yourself. But yeah, let's get into it. So, starting off with last place, Franco Colapinto. Boom. The poll is up. Get your votes in on the poll. What do you rate Franco out of 10? Now, this is how the poll's going to look. You've got, all you have to do is type in Twitch chat 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and it'll pop up on the poll what you rate them out of 10. Now, I like to rate drivers, again, based off of their performances solely. Everyone rates differently. But yeah, let's get into it. So, Franco, in qualified in last. He got out-qualified by his teammate by 4/10. Now, the Alpine was 100% the worst car this weekend, so I didn't expect him to do better, but he was nowhere near his teammate. Then, in the race, he finished dead last. More specifically, he finished 7 seconds behind his teammate, which isn't too bad. But yeah, just another poor weekend from Franco. Yes, it's a poo car, but he also did poo in comparison to his teammate. So I think we're just going to give him a 3 because it was just slow and didn't really do much. Considering Gasly's been able to like prove himself in the Alpine some races, you know, I think that's kind of the standard that Gasly's set now for that Alpine. But yeah, he didn't crash, so he gets a 3. He gets a 3 from me. Majority of you guys saying 3 as well. Yeah, we usually save like 2 and 1 for when they do bad and they crash, which he didn't crash, so he did have a lot of luck ups though. Anyways, next up in second last is his teammate, Pierre Gasly. What do you rate Gasly out of 10? Get your votes in on the poll. So Gasly in qualified 19th, 4/10 ahead of his teammate. He wasn't able to beat anyone else on the grid. And then in the race, he also finished 19th. Yeah, 2 seconds behind the V-Carbs. Wasn't able to do anything. The car's just poo. I don't know. I feel like you can't really rate Gasly bad, so we'll just give him a 5, I think, and move on. I mean, I guess that's kind of harsh because we gave Franco a 3 and Gasly's going to get a 5, but I don't know. I feel like you can beat your teammate. And that's the only way you can prove yourself. So I think that's fair to give Franco a 3. I'm just going to give Gasly a 5 because, I mean, that car was atrocious this weekend. So maybe a 4.5. Maybe a 4.5. With how tight the grid is, you can do something. You can do something with your car every week. So yeah, I'm going to give Gasly a 4.5. Majority of you guys saying 4 as well. All right, get past those guys because fucking pointless. Poo team. All right, let's move on to some drivers that we can actually talk about. Liam Lawson. Get your votes in on the poll. What do you rate Liam's weekend out of 10? Now, very interesting from V-Carb, because V-Carb had a car in Q3, and then they ended both at the back of the grid. Liam specifically, though, qualified P13. He got out-qualified by his teammate by 1/10. More specifically, 4 positions, though. He got out-qualified by Sainz, Behrman, Bortoleto, Alonso. Yeah, with Hadja making Q3, I would have liked to have seen Liam in Q3, so a pretty underwhelming qualifying from Liam. And then in the race, dropped down to 3rd last. Now, his teammate also dropped, so I think it goes to show how bad that car was, / their strategy. But, yeah, not great. And he finished 3 seconds behind his teammate, so not bad, but yeah. Yeah, underwhelming comparison to his teammate. At least he made Q2, but could have made Q3, and the race just kind of fell apart. So I think we're just going to go a Liam's pen for erratic driving. True. 4 or 3.5. You guys are saying 4. I don't know. Yeah, I think 4 is fair. Like 3 is like you were bad. Liam didn't do bad. He just didn't do that great. So we'll go 4. 4 for Liam. Majority of you guys saying 4 as well. So we agree on that. And next up is Isaac Hadja, Liam's teammate. What do you rate Hedger out of 10? Get your votes in on the poll. So Hedger in qualifying made Q3. Awesome job. Yeah, awesome job making Q3. He outqualified Yuki. He outqualified Behrman, Sainz, and his teammate by 1/10. Also Kimi Antonelli, Lewis Hamilton. But in the race, dropped down, back of the grid. I don't think the car really had the pace, and their strategy was a bit weird. But obviously, he can do better with his race pace as well. So I'm going to give Hedger a 5. Obviously, 1 point more than Liam because he outqualified him and finished ahead of him in the race. But still, it's just a pretty average weekend for the V-Car boys. I think, yes, the car wasn't there, but I think they could have done better in the car as well. So I'm going to go 5 for Hedger. Actually, let's go 5.5 because making Q3 is pretty good. And yeah, people he outqualified as well. So 5.5 for Hedger. I feel like I've already fucked these rankings up a little bit. It's hard to rate. I'm just trying to think where's Kimi and Lewis going to go. I don't know. Oh yeah, we haven't spoken about, I need to read chat. After you guys rate the driver, type in chat a little message as to why you rated so we can discuss it. Ditto, Banya Storm. What is that, guys? Welcome to the stream. Whoa, heaps of people following on TikTok. Jacob, Tala, Leland, Luke. Thank you guys all for the follows. Welcome to the stream. Strat just wasn't there. So many people just sat in the train all race. It's hard. Yeah, it's going to be one of those races where it's hard to rate, I think. For sure, for sure. All right, majority of you guys saying 5 as well. All right, next up. We have got Alex Albon. What do you rate Albon out of 10? Get your votes in on the poll. So Albon in qualifying went out in Q1. He got out qualified by his teammate by 2/10. He got out qualified by Lewis, who's obviously not been doing well in qualifying lately. Stroll, Antonelli, Liam. His teammate, obviously, Behrman. Yeah, not a great quali from Albon going out in Q1. And then in the race, he managed to only move up 1 position. He moved ahead of the V-Carbs, but yeah. And he finished 8 seconds behind his teammate. It's really interesting because V-Carb and Williams are usually the best of the rest team, but they were kind of both nowhere this weekend. So yeah, I think Albon, same as Liam. Underwhelming. Out in Q1. Nowhere near a teammate and didn't do well in the race, so I'm gonna give Albon a 4. Maybe there's an argument Albon should be lower than Liam because Albon went out in Q1, but then he finished ahead in the race and didn't get a pen like Liam, so we'll keep it at 4. Same as Liam. 4 still off in quality. Do you think Isaac will be getting below average ratings next year? I hope not. I think new regs, he should be okay. Aldo Conti, thank you for the follow. And Bristol Plains Spot, I think he has, thank you for the follow as well. All right, tied between 4 and 5. I don't think you could give Albon a 5 for the weekend he had personally, so I disagree. But a lot of you saying 4 as well. So yeah. Next up, we have got Kimi Antonelli. What do you rate Kimi Antonelli's weekend out of 10? Get your votes in on the poll. If you're just tuning in, we are doing our weekly driver ratings as we do after every single Grand Prix weekend. Normally do it on a Monday. We're doing it on a Tuesday today. If you want to vote on the poll, you have to come over to Twitch, twitch.tv/Ponden, and all you got to do is type in chat the number, and it will pop up on the poll. So, Kimi, out in Q2. He was out-qualified by his teammate by 3/10. But Russell qualified 4th. Antonelli qualified 14th, so 10 positions lower. He was out-qualified by Liam, by Carlos, by Ollie, by Yuki, by Isaac, by Esteban, by Gabby, by Fernando. Too many people. He should not be going out in Q2 that low down. So very disappointing in qualifying. And then in the race, he fucking went backwards. He didn't gain any positions. He lost a place. And he finished 40 seconds behind his teammate. Now, it does seem like the Mercedes did kind of fall off in the race a little bit. But yeah, 40 seconds behind your teammate. Outraced by Yuki, who struggled and had a pen. Outraced by all the other teams. Very, very bad weekend from Kimi. So I think Kimi is going to get a 3. At least he didn't crash. At least he didn't do any mistakes and stuff like that. But still, very, very weak from Kimi. Visage. Anna. What is up, guys? Welcome to the stream. Can't rate something that didn't exist. 4 should be in Q3. Didn't do anything in the race. Yeah, 3, 3, 3. Yeah, majority of you guys saying, wow, a lot of you saying 4. Okay, right at the end. 3 and 4 tying. I don't know how you guys could give Kimi a 4 for that. That was a very poor weekend. He didn't move up the grid. Oh, he went backwards. He went backwards. You guys and your Kimmy love. I won't crash out though, because it wasn't that bad of a rating. But usually you guys always rate Kimmy like two points higher than what I do. Anyways, moving on. Yuki Tsunoda. What do we rate Yuki? Out of 10 now. For people who've never been here for other driver ratings, you'll know. You won't know, but we like to rate purely based off of what the second Red Bull seat should be. We're not trying to compare them to Liam or Checo. We're just rating them for what they are. So let's look at Yuki for what he is. So he did make Q3, which is great. But he got out-qualified by his teammate by, well, we don't know because he messed up his final lap. He did help Max in the final session. So to be honest, we have to give props to Yuki. He compromised his banker lap to help Max, which is a part of the team game. And then he did fuck up his final lap. But he did make Q3, which is good. Then in the race, however, he dropped. He lost positions, dropped down to P14. Partly because he got a penalty, which obviously dropped him far down the grid. And, I mean, that penalty was a fair pen. He was erratic on track. So, yeah, I think I would normally give a 3 for this performance. But I think him making Q3 and then also helping Max, trying to help Max in the race and helping Max in qualifying. I don't know. I feel like a 4 is fair. Am I being too nice? But I don't know. I feel like... Yeah, he made Q3. He made Q3. I mean, I guess you should be making Q3 in a Red Bull. So it's not that special. But he helped Max in quali. And I guess he did a bad job of helping Max in the race as well. Maybe we'll go 3.5. 3.5. He was on team orders all weekend and did what he had to do. Had the old floor because of Kimmy's pit lane crash. Oh, yeah, true. That's tough. That's tough. I'll probably go 3.5 for Yuki. Majority of you guys saying 3 as well. So we agree on that. All right, next up, we have got Carlos Sainz. What do you rate Carlos's weekend? Out of 10. Get your votes in on the poll. So Carlos in qualifying went out in Q2. Now, neither Williams made Q3, but I think the car maybe was capable of making Q3. I don't know. Either way, he outqualified his teammate by 0.3. He outqualified Liam, Kimmy, Stroll, Hamilton. So he's done a decent job of quali. I would have liked to have seen him do better, but it wasn't bad. Then in the race, he kind of just held position. Not much really happened. He got overtaken. No, he just kind of held position. He got overtaken by Stroll. That was about it. And he finished 8 seconds ahead of his teammate. So yeah, pretty average weekend from Sainz. I think he's just kind of put the car where it should be. So yeah, decent quali, decent race. I'm gonna go 5.5. I think for Sainz. Yeah, just kind of drove the car where it should be. Nothing special. We didn't do bad either. Am I missing anything about him? Can't remember, to be honest. He was kind of just there. Not a bad race, but nothing special. They're going to do ratings yesterday. I was meant to, Finley, but we had way too much to talk about, so we're doing an extra stream today for it. All right, majority of you guys saying 5 for Sainz. I agree. Damn, we're banging out the driver ratings today. I feel like there's not much to talk about. One, because we didn't see any of the midfield and backfield this weekend because we're too busy focusing on the front of the pack. 2, it was a DRS train, so nothing really even happened anyway. And 3, that's just, yeah. There's not much really to talk about. All right, no, this driver, I think we've got a little bit to talk about. We have got, next up, Ollie Behrman. What do you rate Ollie Behrman's weekend? Out of 10. Get your votes in on the poll. Daniel, what is up, dude? So, Ollie, he qualified P11. He got out-qualified by his teammate by only a few milliseconds. But I think Ollie should have made Q3. That Haas looks so good. So for Ollie to miss out on Q3 is a little bit of a disappointment. But at the same time, P11's not bad. So I think he's done okay. He's outqualified the Williams. He's outqualified Liam. He's outqualified Antonelli, Stroll, Lewis. So he's done okay. He's done okay. Or he's done good, I should say. However, in the race, he's lost a position, and he's not finished in the points. Well, Ocon qualified in the points and finished in the points, and he finished 12 seconds behind his teammates. So, yeah, I think qualifying, not bad, but could have been better for Behrman, and race could have been better. Yeah, just kind of lacked in comparison to his teammate this weekend. I think I'm going to give Ollie a 5. I think if you compare him to Sainz, I think Sainz didn't have the car and beat his teammate. Behrman had the car and beat his teammate. He only finished 1 second ahead of Sainz in a worse car. Maybe it's even worse. He got a penalty too. Oof. Okay, I think I'm gonna drop it down to 4.5 to be honest. I think the Haas should have been in the points this weekend, and I mean Ocon proved that. So yeah. Red Bull Sim Racing, what is up? 10 for Max is the only acceptable answer. That is facts. That is facts. Well, I mean, we'll get to Max. We'll get to Max soon. Guys, we're going to be live on the Red Bull channel in a couple hours. If you're not following Red Bull Sim Racing already, Red Bull Sim Racing there, be sure to give them a follow. I'll be live on that channel in 2 hours time doing some open lobbies if you want to join us. Yeah, what do you guys got to say about Behrman? Once you vote, again, let me know in chat why you voted for that. You'd give him a 5. 5. You got a penalty too. I forgot about the penalty. What do you get the penalty for again? Williams could be the team to watch over the next few years. I agree. Behrman won the rookie championship. What do you mean the rookie championship? If you're talking the award's not been done yet. If you're talking in terms of points, he finished behind Hadja and Kimi, so that's not true. More than one change of direction. Oh, I forgot about that. 10 penalty points. All right, majority of you guys saying 6 for Kimi. I don't agree with 6 at all. He got qualified by his teammate, didn't make Q3 when the car was capable of making Q3, then didn't get points in the race and finished 1 position ahead of Sainz and got himself a penalty. Yeah, I don't agree with that personally. But hey. All right, we move on to the final driver, not in the points. Gabriel Bortoleto. What do you rate Bortoleto out of 10? Get your votes in on the poll. So, Bortoleto qualified in Q3. Amazing qualifying. Out-qualified his teammate by only a 10th, but still. Gabriel, P7, Hulkenberg, P18. So 11 positions higher. He out-qualified both Haas's, Hadja, Yuki, the Williams, Kimi, Lewis, Stroll, so many big names. He was second best of the rest, right behind Gabby. Amazing stuff. If I had to rate him for qualifying, I'd give him a 9.5 because he was only 2 milliseconds behind Alonso. He could have done it. But yeah, 9.5 for Gabby for quali. However, in the race, he dropped out of the points and behind his teammate by 2 seconds. What happened? What happened to Gabby for that to happen? How has he lost? Okay, he was never going to beat Alonso, but he got beaten by the Haas, which I think was a better car, so that's okay. Got beaten by Lewis, which is fine, because Lewis is in a Ferrari. That should be the case. But he got beaten by his teammate, and he got beaten by Stroll. How's that happen? How's that happen? Tires? Tires stuff off. He really just didn't have the pace during the race. Yeah. Anyways, I think I'm going to give Bortoleto... I'm thinking like a 6, because like quali was amazing. I'm thinking 6.5. Look, at the end of the day, he got beaten. Like I said, Alonso was always going to beat him. He started ahead. It's Alonso. He's going to do a train. Haas was a better car. Ferrari's a better car. Lewis was the better car. It's just getting beaten by his teammate and Stroll was not amazing, but he didn't do bad. So I think a 6.5 is fair. Holt did the 2-stopper. Just turned out to be the better strat, right? Ronnie White, name of the follow. All right, majority of you guys saying 7 for Bortoleto. I feel like that's maybe a bit too high for finishing outside the points, but I see it. I get it. All right, let's move on to the drivers in the points now. First up, we've got Lance Stroll. What do you rate Lance's weekend? Out of 10. Now, keep in mind, he did get a penalty at the end of that race. And I do think it's a fair pen, even though he was complaining about it. So, Stroll, he qualified P15. Went out in Q2. Out-qualified by his teammate by 2/10. 9 positions lower. That's not great. You got qualified by the V-Carbs, by Sainz, by the Haas's. And yeah, his teammate's best of the rest, and he's down in P15. Not great. However, he redeemed himself in the race, moving up 5 positions to finish in the points. However, he finished 12 seconds down on his teammate. He got beaten by Hulkenberg, who was in a worse car, and started behind him. Obviously, he got beaten by Lewis, which I guess makes sense in a Ferrari. So yeah, he did redeem himself in the race, but he gave himself a penalty. And if it wasn't for that penalty, he would have finished, I believe, high enough in the points to have gotten P6 in the constructors. Wait, what was his pen? Was it a 10 or a 5?
Oscar Piastri will come.
Was it a 5 or a 10-second pen he got? How do you vote? You got to come over to Twitch chat, Kevin. It was a 5 sec. Okay, so don't worry. His pen didn't affect his position. He still said ahead of Bortolotto with a pen. I see. Yeah, I guess he redeemed himself in the race. This is hard. He had a way worse qualifying than Bortolotto, but then he finished ahead of Bortolotto in the race. So, I don't know, I'm thinking maybe Bortolotto. I'm thinking maybe a 6.5 for Stroll, same as Bortolotto. Bortolotto had a much better qualifying, but in the race, Stroll finished ahead of Bortolotto. Actually, I think it's a 6. I think it's a 6 because at least Bortolotto beat his teammate in quali. Stroll didn't beat his teammate in quali and the race. I think 6 is fair. And I don't think Bortolotto should have been beating Stroll anyway. So yeah, I think a 6 is fair. What's up, Jet? Thank you, man. Thank you. We just got a fresh cut. Stroll had a pen too. Yeah, true. We'll go 6. Majority of you guys saying 7. I don't know if I agree it's that high, but okay. All right, next up, P9. We've got Nico Hulkenberg. What do you rate Hulkenberg out of 10? Get your votes in on the poll. So, Nico in quali had an absolute stinker out in P18, 11 positions lower than his teammate. Was a 10th down, but ended up being 11 positions. Out-qualified by the Williams, by the V-Carbs, by Stroll, by the Haas's. Yeah, just way down on his teammate. However, in the race, completely redeemed himself. Great recovery drive. At the end of the day, we kind of ignore qualifying. If you redeem yourself in the race, we ignore qualifying, and we're going to do that here because he finished in P9, right behind Lewis, or 7 seconds behind Lewis. He held off Stroll. I mean, Stroll had a penalty anyway, but he held off Stroll, and he finished ahead of his teammate. So he's done a really, really good job for a Sauber that I did not expect to be getting points this weekend. So I think if we just look at how his race went, he finished in P9. I think that's a solid effort. So I would give him, I think, an 8.5, and then we'll knock off 8.5 for quali. I think 8's fair. Good result. Quali sucked. Maybe there's an argument if he had a qualified higher, he could have beaten Lewis. Maybe could have raced with Ocon and Alonso. But yeah, good weekend. Good weekend from Hulkenberg. Ending the season with a nice 8. Federico, user. What is that, guys? Bottom of the stream. 2 stoppers the strap with the parade of a race. Yeah. Cora Surel. Thank you for the follow. Welcome to the stream, Deb. All right. Majority of you guys send 8 on the poll, so we agree on that one. Oh my god, we're banging it out today. We are banging out the ratings today. All right, we move on to some of the big boy names / good results. First up, or next up, we have got Lewis Hamilton. What do you rate Hamilton's weekend out of 10? Get your votes in on the poll. So, the Ferrari's poo-poo. However, Lewis got out-qualified by his teammate by 2/10 in Q1. In qualifying. He went out in Q1, and his teammate qualified in P5 in Q3. He's 11 positions lower. He was out-qualified by Stroll, by Antonelli, by the V-Carbs, by Sainz, by the Haas's, by Bortolotto. It is very disappointing qualifying once again for Lewis. However, in the race, he redeemed himself in the sense of finishing in the points, moving up the grid. But in a Ferrari, he still finished behind Ocon, behind Alonso, and behind Russell, who Leclerc beat convincingly. Leclerc finished 25 seconds ahead of Russell and 40 seconds ahead of Alonso. Lewis finished 50 seconds behind his teammate. Now, you might be like, yeah, but he recovered well. Yeah, but my point is he shouldn't be qualifying that low because then he could be racing with Leclerc. At the end of the day, he should be finishing P5 and he finished P8. Still, though, he got points. He's not had a great weekend. It's pretty underwhelming. Yeah, qualifying, I would give a 3 out of 10. Like, nowhere near his teammate and maybe even lower than a 3. And out in Q1, at least he didn't crash the car. In the race, his result, I would give... His result, I'd probably give it like a 6.5, 6. Like, he's finished way down as his teammate and only gotten 8 points. So, I don't know. I feel like combining those together, I feel like combining those two together, it's got to be a 4. But then I look at the poll and I'm like, no one's voted for 4. So am I just crazy? Like, yeah, his recovery was good, but he still finished 4 positions lower than his teammate and 50 seconds behind him. I don't know. I feel like a 4.5 personally. I feel like it's going to be a 4.5. It's a below average weekend. Out in Q1, 4 positions behind his teammate, 50 seconds down. I don't know. Maybe I could see a 5, but I don't know. I don't know. Who have we rated lower today? Like, who else have we given a 5 or a 4.5 to, just to compare it to? Like, I don't know. If you start behind Alonso, it's impossible. We're focusing too much on the places gained. Yeah, I agree. If you qualify bad, redeem yourself, but still finish nowhere near where you shouldn't just get a good rating. You gave Hedger a 5.5. Yeah, but Hedger qualified in Q3. I mean, I guess you could argue... Yeah, true. Yeah, good point. Hedger lost the position. But no, Lewis is in a fucking Ferrari. No. That's fair. Hedger was in a V-carb, and Lewis in a Ferrari. He should be finishing near Leclerc. Hedger beat his teammate and made Q3, and you can clearly look at the V-carb and be like, that shouldn't be in the points. The Ferrari should be in the points. Specifically, it should be 50 seconds up the road. Qualifying sucked, but recovery was really good, but not enough. I don't know. Maybe I'm too harsh to a 4.5. I'm going to go 5. Hedger was going to cook, though, because he was going to Red Bull. Race is more important than quali. You can't out of 2. Sheev Ferrari. What's up, Max Lex? Qualifying sucked. 4. Got points from the back. Hello, Ferrari is poo. Yeah, but you're still 50 seconds off your teammate, man. You're still getting beaten by a Haas and an Alonso. Like, I don't know. I thought you'd be live around 5 a.m. No, remember, in my Discord, I always got the time in there. I slept in for 2 more hours because I thought, no way he goes live on time. This guy. I don't know. I think with the way I rate, I think 5 is fair. Out in Q1, nowhere near his teammate. Got points in the race, but should have been way more points. And nowhere near his teammate. And if he had qualified better, he would have finished better. Yeah, he recovered well. Maybe I can go 5.5 because he recovered well, but he still finished nowhere near his teammate, man. Yo, Duncan, thank you so much for the raid, dude. I appreciate that. Welcome in, everyone from Duncan's stream. You guys have come in at a good time. We are currently doing driver ratings for Abu Dhabi. So if you want to rate yourself, what you got to do is type in Twitch chat what you rate the driver out of 10. But yeah, thank you so much, Duncan. Appreciate it. Hope your stream went well. Bro's been out in Q1 3 races in a row. Can't blame the car every time. Yeah, exactly. If Leclerc went out in Q2, I would understand. If Leclerc also finished near the bottom end of the points, I'd understand. But he's not. Nobody expects the Ponden stream start time. I always go live within maybe like 15-30 minutes. 2 hours is crazy. Yesterday's stream literally was TBD. There was no... Of course I went live late yesterday because there was no start time yesterday's stream. You guys are trolling. A special helmet for what? To get knocked out in style. Facts. I'm going to leave Lewis at... I feel like I'm being too generous for 5.5. For a driver in a Ferrari, qualifying 11 positions lower than the teammate, finishing 4 positions lower than the teammate, 50 seconds down. I mean, yeah, he recovered well, but... You know what? I'm not doing a Discord stream schedule time next year. You guys have lost the privilege by complaining all the time. Next year, I'm just going to put the days I'm live and never putting a time. I'll just be live at an unknown time. Then you guys will never know when I'm going live. Even roughly, you won't even know when I'm going live. Gotta go enjoy the stream. Catch you later, Duncan. Appreciate you, rated, dude. I'm gonna leave it at 5.5. I think I'm gonna leave it at 5.5. But then I don't know, man. Yeah, I'll leave it 5.5. All right, majority of you guys saying 7. That's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy. Saying Lewis had a good weekend is crazy. I disagree. I disagree personally. I guess Lewis did recover well though, man. You got 7 because you got 7 championships. Unca's 44. Give him some break. Oh yeah, we'll start rating drivers based off of their age. Yep. AMZ CPFC. There goes the follows. He recovered well, but didn't he drop some positions at the end? I can't remember. Do I give him a 6? Am I being too harsh? I don't think I am. I don't think I am being too harsh. I don't know. I do think the Ferrari's bad, but when Leclerc's driving the way it is, I don't think you should. I don't think you can say it's that bad. You know what I mean? You wouldn't say it was good and you wouldn't say it was bad. This, my friend, we call the middle ground, where either end of the pendulum is not able to be reached. Is Ando work on a spreadsheet of all the ratings across the year? I've been doing it myself. I just go and watch the VODs. That's what I did last year. I thought it would take forever, but it actually didn't take me that long. Yeah, I'll leave it 5.5. All right, moving on. Next up, we've got Ocon in P7. What do you rate Ocon's weekend out of 10? Get your votes in on the poll. So, Esteban Ocon qualified P8. Ahead of his teammate by only a couple milliseconds, but still outqualified his teammate by 3 positions. Yeah, he outqualified everyone he needed to, other than Bortoleto and Alonso, but I don't think he did bad. He was only milliseconds off beating Alonso. And how did I just look up at chat and see a 5 and a 6 rating for Ocon? Are we dead ass right now? Anyways, Ocon did his job in qualifying. Yes, he could have done better, but he's qualified exactly where I think that Haas should have been. So good work. And he's outqualified his teammate. Then, in the race, he's moved up a position. Who did he move up a position on? Oh, on Bortoleto. And finished behind Alonso. He beat Lewis and he beat Stroll. And he finished exactly where he needs to be in that Haas with how good it was. And he beat his teammate by 12 seconds. For that, I think Ocon deserves at least a 9 rating out of 10. Yeah, I don't think I can give him a 10 just because he could have outqualified Bortoleto and Alonso. And I think in the race, he could have beaten Alonso if he had outqualified him with the car that he had. But yeah, very solid weekend from Ocon. Outclassed his teammate, did well in quali, did very well in the race. Solid. 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10, I think. Had a really good weekend with that Haas. Very impressive to put it where he did. Qualified ahead of who he needed to. Finished well. Ocon showed up this weekend. Good quality, good race, good overtaking. 7.5. Are you guys trolling? Are you guys trolling? I can't believe I'm defending Ocon right now. 7. 8. 7 and 8 out of 10. Yeah, the Haas was good, but he put the Haas in P8. 3 positions ahead of his teammate. Yes, he got outqualified by Gabby, but that's okay. That's okay because he finished ahead of him in the race. He literally finished exactly, if not better, than where the Haas should have been. He finished ahead of Lewis. He finished ahead of Stroll, and he finished ahead of Kimi Antonelli. And he finished ahead of his teammate by 12 seconds. The only person Ocon didn't beat that he could have beat, not should have, could have beat, I'm spitting now, is Alonso. And you're giving him a 7. You guys want to give him the same rating you gave Lewis. Newsflash, he outqualified and finished ahead of Lewis. You guys are trolling. I can't believe I'm defending Ocon. He didn't maximize the weekend. It's def for 9. Cap chat, 9, 6, 7. Okay. 8? How is it an 8? No, I'm even mad about an 8. How is it an 8? He finally responded to Ollie's form. Yeah. How is it even an 8, bruh? Chat rage baiting? Yeah, for sure. It's even Red Bull Sim Racing knows. Zara, what is up? I'm on the stream. Damn, you got a sub and you just typed chat for the first time. 9, Lewis and Kimi started outside the top 10. He had an advantage on them. Do you know why? Do you know why, Bike Force? Because he outqualified them. Of course he had an advantage on Kimi and Lewis because he outqualified them. Didn't expect we'd be fighting about an Ocon rating. I can't believe he's been rated that low. That's criminal. No, you guys have done him dirty. I can't believe 11 people voted for 7. And I'm shocked 16 of you voted for 8. What more could have that man done? What more could have he done? Beat Alonso. Okay. Why does he lose 2 points for not beating Alonso? We're going to move on. We're going to move on from that because that's pissed me off for all the two Ocon fans around the world. Moving on. Next up, we've got Fernando Alonso. I know, watch now. He's gonna get a 10. He's gonna get a 10. Fernando Alonso, what do you rate Alonso out of 10? Get your votes in on the poll. So, Fernando qualified P6, best of the rest. He outqualified everyone that he needed to, including his teammate, by 3/10. Also, 9 positions ahead of his teammate. And then in the race, he finished exactly where he started. He also beat Lewis and Kimi, who weren't able to get past. And he held off Ocon. Yeah, he's honestly, he's had a perfect weekend. There's nothing more he could have done. He couldn't have outqualified Charles, in my opinion. And he wasn't going to outrace Russell. He's done exactly what he needed to and secured all the points he needed to in the constructors. It's a shame Stroll didn't do his job because then they could have beaten. They could have beaten VCARB in the Constructors Championship. So it's a 10. It's a 10 for Alonso. There's literally nothing more he could have done. The fact that the Aston is even best of the rest when you've got a Williams and a VCARB. And that Haas that weekend was cracked out. And for Alonso to finish best of the rest in both sessions comfortably, yeah, he's done an amazing job. So 10 out of 10 for Alonso. He's done nothing wrong this weekend. Are we trolling? Are we trolling? We're trolling. 9 and 10 have to be exceptional performances. No, a 10 is perfect. I'm out of all the content creators I watch who do driver ratings, I'm so harsh when it comes to driver ratings. You have to be perfect. What did Alonso do that wasn't perfect? He did nothing. He didn't do anything wrong. He finished exactly. He did better than what he should do because he beat Lewis and Kimi and Yuki. He beat 3 big drivers, big teams. Literally flawless. What more do you want him to do, man? What more do you guys want him to do? 8 or above is an amazing result. And a Haas is P5 and above. To get more than an 8 and a Haas, you need to have a P5 or above. So you basically want George Russell and Leclerc to forget how to drive overnight for Haas to get higher than 8 rating. Are we trolling? I want to see Alonso and Ferrari again. That'd be elite. Him versus the Charles would be insane. Greatest train driver of all time. Tell me where to sign for an Alonso World Drivers' Championship. Gidelap. What does up, dude? On the stream. Get Unkin that McLaren and he's champion. I agree. But he didn't massage Lando's back before the race. He did. It just wasn't on camera. Glaze this man more. How can you call it perfect? He qualified P6 and finished P6. An exceptional performance would be a podium or similar. You want a lot? No, I'm getting rage baited by Jet. You want Alonso to get a podium in an Aston Martin against McLaren and Red Bull and Mercedes and Charles Leclerc? I'm getting trolled. I get rage baited. All right. There's no way. I have to be getting rage baited. All right. Finally, in the end, majority of you guys said 10. But the fact 9 of you, who are the 9 that said 8? You're trolling. 15 of you said 9. I don't mind 9. I can understand a 9 because like some of you might not look at Alonso and say it was a perfect weekend. I don't know what more Alonso was meant to do. Usually I'm like, oh, but they made a mistake here or they lost a bit of time here. Coming in this weekend, did you expect Aston to be best of the rest? No. But he was in both sessions. Anyways, majority of you guys saying 10 in the end. Thank God for that. Now watch these next 2 guys get higher ratings than fucking Ocon and Ocon and Alonso because they're in a better car. Woo! Anyways, I'm mad. I'm mad at you guys. I thought we were smarter than this. Are we being biased or no? No, just solely performance. I guess he did almost get overtaken by Ocon at one point, but he didn't. Wait, didn't. Sometimes you leave a 10 for when you're doing something even more. For instance, Sainz podium in Qatar. Well, yeah, but anyways, moving on. Top 5 now. G-Ross. What do you guys rate G-Ross out of 10? Get your votes in on the poll. Now, if you're just tuning the stream for the very first time, you want to know what we are doing. We're doing our drive ratings for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Normally, we do this on a Monday after a Grand Prix weekend. Today, we're doing it on Tuesday because there's way too much to talk about in yesterday's Grand Prix review. So we're doing it today. But normally on a Monday, join us on stream. And that is when we do our ratings. And if you want to vote on the poll, all you have to do is come over to the Twitch chat, twitch.tv/Ponden, and type your rating in chat. So, George Russell, qualified P4. I think exactly where the Mercedes should have been, you know, behind the big boys and ahead of the Ferrari and the midfield team. So, he's done his job. I think there maybe was a bit more in the Mercedes in quali. But yeah, I don't think there's much more Russell really could have done than that. And he outqualified his teammate by 0.6 and was 10 positions higher than Kimi. So I think he's done a really good job in quali. However, in the race, he's had an atrocious start, dropped behind Charles and dropped behind Alonso off the race start. And honestly, I think his race pace was pretty mid. Now, Kimi was also very underwhelming in that race, so that makes me think that was a car problem. But yeah, obviously the race start was bad, which meant he lost out to Charles off the start. And honestly, in a weekend where I wanted Russell to do better, I thought he was quite disappointing in terms of race pace. He did, again, do his job, finished ahead of everyone he needed to, other than Charles. So yeah, I think Russell's had a good weekend. I just think for his standards and for Mercedes' standards, it was just average. You know what I mean? It was just like, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, it's hard. We're at that point of the season now where we've got 23 other races to judge and compare. So looking at this, it's like, oh, like it's pretty underwhelming. But I mean, he still did his job at the end of the day. He's qualified P4 and he's finished P5. The only thing he could have done was beaten Charles. And his teammates finished outside the points in both sessions. So yeah. Anyways, I think Russell's just kind of done his job. Nothing bad, nothing crazy. So I think it's a 7. I think it's a 7. Yeah. He's done his job in quali. I think he could have done a little bit better, but he's done his job. And then in the race, he's lost 2 positions. That could have been better. He could have beaten Russell. I don't know, could have been in Leclerc, but he's finished in P5 and he's absolutely outclassed his teammate. I mean, there's even an argument it should be a 7.5, to be honest, because his teammate was nowhere. But I don't know. He was slow as fuck in the race. Yes, quali was very sloppy, mistakes on both laps. True. Jamison, what is up? 1 weekend we praise Russell like he's center. Next week we forget about him. This weekend he did nothing. But the thing is, he did nothing, but he still got the result he should be getting. You know what I mean? And that's what a championship driver needs to do, is always be getting the points they should be getting. Mercedes was poo. Look at Kimi. The day we needed Merck to fight for the podium, they disappeared. He didn't really have to try. He was locked in 4th. He finished ahead of Alonso, therefore he deserves a higher rating. He dropped the ball this week. He could have qualified high. He almost lost the car at the end of the lap. Wait, I forgot about that. Wait. I completely forgot about that. Russell definitely could have done better in qualifying. If he did make that mistake at the end of the lap, he could have been P2. So, yeah, good point. He could have qualified better. In terms of the... Yeah, yeah. Yeah, qualifying. He qualified where he should in the Mercedes, but he could have done better ahead of the McLarens if it wasn't for that mistake. And then in the race, he lost 2 positions off the start and finished behind Charles. So, yeah, he's still done his job with the Mercedes, but... Yeah, when you think it could have been a quali ahead of McLarens and a fight with the McLarens for the podium. Yeah, I guess it is a bit from Russell, isn't it? Thought it was a season rating? Wait. How many of you thought we were rating drivers' seasons? Please tell me it was just one person. Okay, I know Mr. Co was trolling. I mean, there's no way it says rate George Russell's Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. It says qualifying 5th, race 5th. I've been talking about Abu Dhabi. It's in the title. There's no way there's more than like 2 people. Yeah, we're rating whole season. That's why the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix results are on the bottom. Okay, good. Okay. All right, I gotta go 7 for Russell. Yeah, he did his job, but could have done better and tidied up those mistakes. And he absolutely outclassed his teammate. I actually think, I'm gonna be honest, I think if you just looked at Russell, imagine Kimmy didn't exist, just looked at Russell, I think it's a 6 out of 10 weekend. But I think because of how bad Kimmy did, it makes you go, oh, at least Russell did his job. So I think that's a fair 7. And majority of you guys saying 7 as well. All right. And next up, we have got Charles Leclerc. What do you rate Charles' weekend out of 10? Now, that Ferrari was poo. Was absolutely poo. 1, with where Lewis was, but 2, with just watching that car on board, how poor it was. Yet he still put that car into Q3 while his teammates out in Q1. Specifically, 2 tenths ahead of Lewis, actually. Not insane amount, but still. 11 positions higher. And he outqualified all the midfield teams in what should be a midfield car, in my opinion, with how bad that thing looked. And yeah, he qualified exactly where he should. With Russell making a mistake, maybe you could argue he could have beaten Russell, but I wouldn't demote him for that. I think he's already done his job of qualifying P5 and way ahead of his teammate. And then in the race, he's gotten Russell off the start. Not only that, completely cleared Russell by 25 seconds and was on Lando's ass, putting the pressure on for most of that race. It was only the tire deck really letting him down in, right at the end. Leclerc's absolutely smashed it this weekend. I think he's, it wasn't a perfect weekend. Again, he maybe could have outqualified Russell. And I think seeing where Lewis finished, we know that the car did have good race pace. But still, I think it's a very solid 9 out of 10. Maybe a 9.5, but because of how bad that Ferrari was. But yeah. Very solid from Leclerc. Classic 2020 Leclerc style weekend from him. He drove very well, yeah. Just maximizing the car, or overperforming in the car, I should say. Imagine being a rookie in a 24 race season. They're all destroyed mentally. You reckon? If he managed to overtake Lando, it would have been a 10. Oh, for sure. His race pace was stellar. 9 didn't make Lando crash. 9 could have taken out Lando. He couldn't even push his medium tires because of that tire maximum. Ferrari can't really handle dirty air, which is one of the reasons why he couldn't overtake Lando. True. 10, what else he could have done? What else he could have done was, yeah, he could have outqualified Russell in quali. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like it's maybe a 9.5. I feel like it's maybe a 9.5. Yeah, honestly, I actually think it's a 9.5. Obviously 0.5 off for not beating Russell in quali. Again, even that's like a pipe dream, but still. He finished 50 seconds ahead of his teammate. And he was on the back of Lando and a McLaren. Yeah, I think he smashed it. 9.5. I'm happy with that. Pyro, name of the follow. Leclerc's cut from the same cloth as Alonso. I agree. Did you expect him to beat Norris? I think he maxed out. No, it's fair. No, it's right. You guys are right. I think 9.5, like, not perfect, but almost perfect in a car. Like, again, he's like, that Ferrari looks so bad this weekend. It looks so bad. To be honest, I think I've done Lewis dirty. Did I bump him up to a 6? I think I should bump Lewis back up to a 6. Now thinking about it like that Ferrari was poo. So yeah, I'd change Lewis's rating to a 6, I think, now, if I could go back. All right, majority of you guys saying 9 for Leclerc as well, so we agree on that one. All right, we move on to the podium now. Now, we're not rating the season. We are rating the Grand Prix. So what do you rate Lando out of 10 for Abu Dhabi? Get your votes on the poll. You should have saved the 9.5 for those who had the perfect weekend and 10 for those who did something unbelievable. Now, 10's perfect. 10's perfect. All right, Lando. What do you rate Lando out of 10? So Lando in qualified P2 ahead of his teammate, but 2 tenths off of Max. I think the McLaren should have done a better job in quali. I think Max was absolutely outstanding. But I do think the McLarens, both of them, could have done better. And if it wasn't for Russell making his mistake, I think they generally would have got beaten off pace. I don't know what it was. I don't know if Oscar was a little bit off the pace. Lando was just chilling because he knows he just needs to finish, but like not bin the car. But yeah, I think his pace could have been better in quali. But still, he did beat his teammate, and he did his job of qualifying in the top 3. And then in the race, he got overtaken by by Piastri off the start. Andrea claims that was for the team, but I still think like Piastri just genuinely went for a move and then Lando just chilled. Lando's pace was then very disappointing in my opinion in comparison to Charles. Again, it could just have been him chilling, but still, Charles was right on the back of him. And then he wasn't able to get Piastri back at the end of the race. And yeah, he just kind of did his job this weekend. You know what I mean? It wasn't anything outstanding. He beat his teammate in quali, but didn't beat him in race pace. Finished 16 seconds behind Max and almost got beaten by Charles. Yeah, he just kind of did his job. I know he just kind of did his job. I'm thinking like 7.5. Yeah. I don't know if it could be higher than that. Like, it wasn't a great weekend. Great weekend would be like outperforming your teammate and like, especially in the McLaren, fighting for the win. 9 did what he needed to do. I think you must take pressure into account. You should be able to handle the pressure, right? Did what he needed to do, become world champ. 8, I think it was fine and probably was saving pace if Leclerc did it. Well, that's the thing. How do we rate, right? Do we look at Lando and be like, yeah, he was chilling because he didn't need to push more because he's in a championship fight, so we rate him based off of what he could have done? Or do we go, do we rate him off of what he did do, and that's his choice? Like, it's his. Keep in mind, it was his choice to perform worse. Like, I get why you'd rate him higher than a 7.5, but I think you got to rate him for what he did show us. And like, I agree. Lando was chilling. I think Lando didn't race Piastri because he's in a championship. I think he did chill a good gap behind Piastri because he didn't want to fuck his car. And I do think he didn't drive up the road from Charles because, again, he didn't want to risk pushing. So I get it. But at the same time, like, we're rating what we did see. And what we did see from Lando was a weekend. And I get why he did that, but we're still just, we're rating his performance. You know what I mean? Like, he just naturally, like, if he chose to drive worse. So Lando was managing his tires according to Bernie. He picked up his pace whenever he asked with no troubles. Russell outperformed his teammate by a lot, but rated lower. Well, yeah, but Russell could have done better though. Almost wish there was a Alonso-Hamilton rivalry at the end of the year. It kind of made him less stressed in the final race. He did ask for Piastri to push more at times. They didn't want to be too close with dirty, yeah. Yeah, but Piastri was on hard, so he shouldn't have got overtaken on the first lap. They spoke about the overtake. Lando was never going to fight it. I mean, yeah. In this scenario, context should be taken, though, because he was out-qualified by Piastri and would have overtaken him last if he wanted to. But we can't go would have, could have. He didn't. We don't know. Maybe he wouldn't have. And then we end up giving him a 9 out of 10 for something he could have done but didn't. He did a double overtake to win the World Drivers' Championship. Impressive. How he came through the field was good. I saw on Facebook that Verstappen is not racing for RB next year. What? He wanted to save his tires, but still had to pit early. As a consequence, he ended up behind Lawson. That strategy from McLaren was weird to me. I thought it was really risky. Weird if he achieved the goal, would have in this race, and if he had a proper good race. I always add this caveat with the title contenders and what they need to do each race for the title. Yeah, fair. Did very good to overtake in traffic with dirty air at this track and the championship pressure, so I think it should be an 8. Vettel, Lewis, and Max all said Lando deserved the championship, but all experts on Twitter don't agree. I mean, that's why they're on Twitter, right? His overtakes definitely make him give a higher score. Not a 10, but 7.5. I think for his standard, it was a cool and collected race. Yeah. I don't know. I think if I was to rate the performance solely, I would give it a 7 or a 7.5. I can see why you'd up it to an 8. Because, like, he did his job. Yeah, that's fair. I'll go 8. I'll go 8. But I'm not going to go higher than that. Like, if he, you know, we're rating the performance, and his performance was worse this weekend because he just wanted to secure the championship, and that's fine. That's fine. All right, majority of you guys saying 8, so we agree on that one. Moving on. Second last driver. What would Mike Dukakis say? Oscar Piastri. What do you rate Oscar? Out of 10. Get your votes in on the poll. So Oscar, qualified P3, did get out qualified by Lando. Again, I do feel like both McLaren drivers could have done better in quali, because if it wasn't for Russell making his mistake, they would have both gone beaten off pace, and they were 2/10 down on Max. But it wasn't a bad qualifying from Piastri. Yes, he got beaten by his teammate, but I think it was still pretty tight. And then in the race, amazing overtake to get past, amazing stint on the hards. I think he put himself in the best position possible to win the race. It's just Max was too good. Max was just much better. And yeah, obviously we didn't actually see Lando and Piastri fight, so who knows if he would have came out on top, but that was Lando's choice to perform worse for the championship, so we can't really demote Piastri points because of that. Yeah, I don't think there's anything really bad Piastri did. I think it's a 9 out of 10. I think maybe 0.5 off for not out-qualifying his teammate, and then maybe 0.5 for not... that obviously cost him the race win. Maybe an 8.5? I don't know. Like, could have beaten his teammate in quali. Could have been a Max in quali. Could have been a Max in the race. Is it 8.5 or a 9? Levi, they were the follow. Going on hards was ballsy. Yeah, but he made it work. He made it work for sure. There's no way he can beat Max that race, you reckon? According to Tellem, George was off Lando's lap 0.1 before the last corner. Oh, really? Interesting. I think I'll leave it at 9 for Piastri. Again, compared to Lando, it's a 9. If you look at where Lando could have been if he was trying, maybe it's an 8.5, but we won't know. We can't look at the fucking what could have happened because it didn't happen. So yeah. What would you put if it was a season review? Well, we're going to do season rankings next week. Season driver rankings next week, so tune on in for that. All right, majority is saying 9 for Piastri, so we agree, which means, last but not least, our final driver rating of the season. Max Verstappen. What do you rate Max's weekend? Out of 10. I don't even know if we need a rate. A nice way to end the season. Max qualified P1. He out-qualified Yuki by, well, we don't know because Yuki helped him. But in the end, he got pole. He got the fastest lap. He improved on his time without a slipstream. He out-qualified the McLarens by 2/10 without a slipstream. Yes, Lando probably wasn't pushing the max because he just wanted to finish just get his car across the line in a good position. And Piastri was Piastri, but yeah, still 2/10 up on the McLarens. Absolutely insane. Did not expect that at all after practice. And then in the race, held the lead perfectly. Managed the pace amazingly. Pit when he needed to pit. Kept the gap. Got past Piastri quickly. And won the race by 12 seconds. Now, maybe there's an argument in the championship context that you could be like, well, this race he needed to do X, Y, Z. And he didn't do X, Y, Z. So demote him down points. But we're not going to do that. I think, yeah, I was disappointed with Red Bull and Max not trying something. I don't feel like that was Red Bull. I don't feel like that was Max. I feel like Red Bull and Max have always been the team, the driver to, I will do everything in my power to win the to win the race or win the championship. But they didn't do that this weekend. And, you know, maybe they could have done better in terms of the championship result. But in terms of the race result, I mean, it's a perfect weekend. Pole by 2/10 and race win by 12 seconds on a fast McLaren. Obviously, he did everything he could to win that race. So yeah, I'm gonna give him a 10. Yeah, I wish he did something more to try win the championship. But yeah, I don't think you can rate Max lower than a 10. It was absolutely perfect this weekend. Nuts, absolutely nuts. Majority, you guys saying 10 as well on the poll. What are you guys saying in chat? 10s across the board, says Rebel Sim Racing. He did a pole in the win and got neither. Oh wait, that's Piastri, my bad. That qualifying lap was insane. Yeah, honestly. Johnny crashed from the stream, dude. He should have tried something, so no 10 for me, just personal preference. Yeah, it's fair. I think if we rate the race, it's a 10. If you rate it from a championship race, it's a bit lower. His ready at the end had me in the fields. Yeah, bro didn't put a foot wrong in the whole weekend. Maybe 9, because why didn't he try to... Yeah, I can understand. If you rated Max lower than 10, I can understand in the championship context for sure. Big B won the stream, dude. Yeah, disappointed, but he drove well. What could have done better? I mean, he won the race and Yuki was no match for Lando. More just like the backing up the field. 3 wins in a row as well. True. Most podiums in a row this season as well. Crazy to think Max did that in that car. He turned into a saint somehow, didn't care at all. I saw someone in chat say, Do you feel like Max is less aggressive because of his kid and because of his family now? I don't think so. Since Max has had his daughter, since Max has been with P and Kelly, like, he's been the same old Max. That was the one race where I was like, damn, Red Bull weren't Red Bull and Max wasn't Max. And I get it. They felt like they had so much luck already from this season. They did everything they could, aka winning the race, that what's the point in then trying to hold up someone? You know, at the end of the day, you're ruining PR, you're ruining your image. Like, you basically need to be a fucking menace to win that race. So I get it. Like, that to like, you'd lose that to then potentially win a championship, and then you have all the controversy and all that stuff. Max probably felt like, well, what's the point? I already got lucky enough as it is. I should have been in this position. But at the same time, that's what I like about Max, is he'll do anything to win. So yeah, I see why they did it, but at the same time, I'm like, fuck. Maybe it's more from an entertainment standpoint. I'm like, fuck. And I don't think they could have done anything anyway. I don't think what could have Max done? Max would have had to have given dirty air to Lando to the point where he'd crash, because even if he backed up the pack and Leclerc got past, Piastri pulls over 2 cars, Lando still went. There's literally, like, you are hoping that Lando crashes, and it's just almost impossible when you can just drive slow and get across the line. So yeah. Anyways, 10 out of 10 for Max for that race. Absolutely insane. So that means we wrap up our driver ratings for the season. Now, we are going to do our season rankings next week. We're going to rank every single driver from worst to best and talk about this season's as a whole. Excuse me. So be sure to tune on in next week for that. But yeah, in terms of Abu Dhabi, highest rated, Alonso 10, Max 10, Piastri 9, Leclerc 9, 9.5. Who else got high ratings? I think that was about it, right? Ollie gonna win a world championship. Can happen. I hope so. One day. If Max went and Charles was with Red Bull, he would get a few world championships. Fewer or a few? Natarin, one of the stream. In the post-race interview, is so calm. I've seen him more mad about losing a race. We'll see if fatherhood affects him in 130. Oh my god. Oh my god. Wait, I'm pausing this crap. I'm muting this crap. I'm muting it for a minute. You can have your 7-7 spam in a second once I wrap up this fucking driver ratings. Anyways, guys, that wraps up the driver ratings for today and for the season. Thank you guys all for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to follow down below. Again, we'll be doing season rankings next week, and we do driver ratings every single Monday after a Grand Prix. So join me next season where we'll be doing them again. I really enjoyed the system we did this year, where we go through each driver and talk about them and then just rate them on a poll and kind of like do joint ratings. Yeah, I've found like a nice system that works. So yeah. Anyways, YouTube, I'm gonna end the stream there. Be sure to subscribe, be sure to like, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.